Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ben here. I am back again today doing another video. And today I'm going to be talking about my award picks for the 2019 to 2020 NBA season. We're going to be going through all the major awards, including Executive of the Year, Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, Most Improved Player, MVP, and my first, second, and third All-NBA teams. I didn't decide to do rookie teams or all defensive teams just because I wanted to keep the video concise, and I don't really care as much about those two categories if I'm being frank. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'll explain briefly why I chose each person, and we will go from there. So first off, Executive of the Year, Lawrence Frank from the Clippers. Obviously, this past offseason, Lawrence Frank made a lot of good moves, and even during the season made a lot of good moves. On the left side of the screen, you will see some of the major acquisitions that the Clippers made this offseason, including Kawhi, PG, Marcus Morris, Reggie Jackson, Joakim Noah. Although we don't know what the Clippers season will end with, whether a championship or some other result, we do know that they brought in all these guys. They've had a lot of success. At the time of the hiatus, they were projected to be a 56-win team with this roster, which would have been good for the 2 seed in the West and the third best record or fourth best record in the NBA. And they did all of this without giving up the entire team. They also were able to retain Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell, Landry Shamet, Patrick Beverley. So they had good supporting pieces in place despite adding a whole lot of talent. And I think Lawrence Frank deserves the award. I think the only other person you could really argue for is Rob Pelinka, but I think that the Anthony Davis trade was less impressive than all the gymnastics that the Clippers had to go through to acquire all the players that they did, so I'm going with Lawrence Frank. Next, for Coach of the Year, I have Nick Nurse of the Raptors. Before the hiatus, the team was projected to be a 59-23 team, which would have been good for the third best record in the league and the 2 seed in the East. He also led the Raptors to the 14th best offense and the second best defense in the league, and did all of this despite losing their by far best player, Kawhi Leonard, who arguably was the best player in the league last year and is this year, depending on your opinion. But to me, honestly, a lot of people say Mike Budenholzer is the Greg Popovich of the East, and that the Bucks are the Spurs of the East, or it used to be that the Atlanta Hawks were the Spurs of the East when he was coaching them. But honestly, I think it's more Nick Nurse, and just because I feel like his team is good no matter what. Like even without Kawhi Leonard, they're still a very good team, and we're on track to be nearly a 60-win team this year. Whereas I don't care what you say, I don't think the Bucks without Giannis would be a 60-win team. I think they'd be maybe a 50-win team or like a 48-win team without him. But the Raptors didn't really acquire anybody grand either in the offseason. They just kept everybody from the championship team basically except Kawhi, and they ran it back, and they were projected to actually have more wins than they did last year with Kawhi. So to me, that's super impressive, and Nick Nurse definitely deserves it. And I think the other main contenders I was thinking about for this award would have been Frank Vogel, just because he's never won the award, and the Lakers were projected to have 64 wins before the hiatus started. And then, of course, Mike Budenholzer, just because he was going to lead the Bucks to 67 wins, or that at least that's what they were projected to do. And then the other person I was really considering was I think his name's Taylor Jenkins. He's the coach of Memphis. If they would have made the playoffs, I would have considered him. It's been really impressive what he's done with the team, and nobody expected them to be a playoff team. So from that perspective, I found that really impressive as well. There was a lot of interesting choices this year, but I think Nick Nurse just makes the most sense, considering the defense that his team played and their record, even despite losing Kawhi Leonard. Next, for Defensive Player of the Year, I have Giannis. He led the Bucks to the best defensive rating in the NBA. As far as statistics go, he averaged a block and a steal a game, along with 14 rebounds and basically 12 defensive rebounds at that. Also, his defensive rebounding percentage was really good. It was over a third, which means Defensive rebounding percentage means like of the available rebounds when your team is on defense, how many do you grab? And he grabs 35% of them, which is quite a bit. And defensive win shares were the highest of his career at nearly 5 per game, or excuse me, an average of 5. And defensive box score plus minus was at 4. Both of those were career highs, and both are really good marks in the league. So I thought that he deserved them. And just overall, he put together a really great season, not only offensively, but defensively, which is why I gave him Defensive Player of the Year. Next, Rookie of the Year, I have Ja Morant. As far as the significance of what he did from a team standpoint, he got Memphis to the 8th seed before the hiatus started, which nobody thought that team would do. I would say he was the best player on Memphis, and that's really impressive considering he's a rookie. He put up 18 points and 7 assists a game, along with 4 rebounds and a steal. His field goal percentage was really good for a rookie point guard, I think. It was 49% from the field, which is great, and 35% from 3, which is really solid, again, for a rookie adjusting to the NBA and the heightened level of defense. And free throws, he was pretty solid too, 78%, which is pretty average, but at least, it wasn't bad or anything at all. But 49% from the field to me is just awesome for a rookie point guard who regularly are very inefficient and sometimes shoot like 39% rather than 49%. Next, Sixth Man of the Year. A lot of people still want to pick Lou Williams. I didn't really. I went with Dennis Schroeder. I also consider Montrezl Harrell too, but I think Schroeder just did a bit more for OKC this year. Whereas, I think the Clippers would have been just fine without Harrell, but I think Schroeder was a bigger part of OKC's success. I think this is his career high for points. It's 19 a game. Pretty good efficiency too, 47% from the field, 38% from 3, which are both really solid marks. And basically, he just was the spark plug that this team needed off the bench, and he was like the epitome of what you want in a sixth man. A guy who can just come off the bench and be a gunner right away. And he contributed to an OKC team that at the time of the hiatus was the 5th seed, which nobody expected them to be, and they vastly were overachieving. So for me, I think that he deserved it, and I'm tired of Lou Williams winning the award. That's just really boring to me. So I picked Dennis Schroeder. Most improved player, Bam Adebayo. Like it says on screen, he increased his points per game, rebounds per game, assists, steals, and blocks, all from last year. I think, to me, most impressive is the increase in points and assists per game. You can attribute a lot of that to increased minutes, but I don't know. I just love Bam Adebayo, and I think, to me, the big argument here is, do you pick him or Jason Tatum or Brandon Ingram? To me, Jason Tatum, I think we all kind of in our hearts at some point expected him to make this big leap and really improve his game and become like all-star caliber. So to me, if he's expected to improve, it doesn't necessarily warrant him winning the award. Same thing with Brandon Ingram. And also, I'm not as sold on Brandon Ingram's improvements as other people are. And what I mean by that is I think he always was this exact same player he is. He's just being given more shots per game now. Yes, his efficiency has improved, but he basically went from averaging 18 points to 24, and I feel like that's just what happens naturally when you're the number 1 option rather than the 2 or the 3 option like he was last year on the Lakers. And I feel like he's getting a lot of praise despite putting up numbers that other people have put up in the past and not really gotten praise for. I guess if I'm coming up with an example, I would say this year Ingram, I think, is putting up 24 points on 48% from the field and 38% from 3. And just for example, in Andrew Wiggins' best season, he put up 24 points per game on I think 47% from the field and 36% from 3. So relatively similar numbers. Neither guy really played much defense, but I don't know. I think that Brandon Ingram could have done what he did last year. He just wasn't given as many shots because he was playing with LeBron, and this year he's the number 1 option. And also, New Orleans was a pretty bad team for most of this year, so I don't think that Brandon Ingram deserved it. MVP. I'm actually probably going to make a separate video where I argue if LeBron had any chance to win MVP. But to me, it's Giannis. Before the hiatus, his team was on pace to have the best record in the league and be 67-15. The Bucks had the 7th best offense and best defensive rating in the league, basically because of Giannis. He averaged what he averaged here, only playing 31 minutes a night, which is very low for these numbers. He had 14 rebounds a game, 6 assists, a block, a steal, and 30 points per game, which is outstanding. 55% from the field, which is really solid. 3-point percentage and free throw is pretty pitiful, but he doesn't take a ton of those, so it's all right. But yeah, 30, 14, and 6 is pretty awesome for a dude not even playing that many minutes. And then combine that with the best record in the league, and I don't think you can really argue against him. And lastly, we have my All-NBA teams. Apparently, the rules for how you can stack people at what position have kind of been thrown out the window. So, like, technically now you're allowed to put LeBron at, like, guard if you want. You're allowed to put, like, Jokic at forward or something like that, or different things like that. Like, I think you can put Ben Simmons at a guard or a forward slot, or Jimmy Butler at a guard or a forward, or whatever. But I just stuck to the positions they've been generally playing this year and that they were listed at for the All-Star game. So my first team for the guards, I have Luka and Harden. The only consideration here was whether to put Dame on the first team, but I think Dame's team success holds him back, and Luka basically put up the same stats but just won more games. So for that reason, I put Luka on first team. Other first team forwards, Giannis and LeBron, they were like the 1 and the 2 in the MVP race, so I thought it was basically clear cut that they should be the guys. Jokic played more games than Embiid and was generally better than Embiid, so I put him on first team. Second team, Westbrook had a great year. I think he averaged like 29, 8, and 8 on really good efficiency for him, so I put him on the second team. Dame had the best year of his career stats-wise, and even though the team success was not there, his stats were phenomenal, so I put him here. Kawhi and AD, I feel like they're kind of like the natural like next progressions for forwards here, and Embiid at center, who although he missed time, I still like him better than Rudy Gobert or Cat because he is still on a playoff team, but to me it's between Gobert and Embiid for the last 2 center spots, and I just think Embiid's way better than Gobert, who is very offensively limited. Okay, so getting the third team, I think Gobert is at clear-cut center with Cat missing most of this year. If Cat were healthy the entire year, I probably would have put him here, but he only played like 30 games, if that. So I put Gobert. The forward spots, I put Jimmy because I think what he's doing on the Heat is really impressive. I considered a few other people like Jason Tatum, but I think with what Pascal is leading Toronto to doing, he's averaging like 24 this year, so I think that's really impressive. So I put him on here as well. They're projected to be a 59-win team, so I felt like he deserved it. And then at the guard spots, I considered Kemba and I considered Bradley Beal, but I think what Chris Paul is doing in OKC as a leader and a very clutch player is really impressive, so I put him here. And then I think Ben Simmons is too good of a defensive player to leave him off over somebody like Bradley Beal. So he had more team success than Bradley Beal as well, so I put him on here. And he's a way better defender than Kemba, so I put him on here. So there you have, guys. Those are my All-NBA teams and all my awards. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Leave your picks for different All-NBA teams or different awards. Or just let me know why I'm wrong or what you agree with that I put on here. And that's all I got for today, guys. So hope you enjoyed the video and hope to see you next time. Bye.